Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and today me and my classmates are going to talk about a new and interesting topic which is about reading and use of English from the book which says First Expert Course Book by Jumbo and Roger Gower. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the paper number 1, Reading and Use of English. It's important to know that it has around 1 hour 50 minutes, 7 parts, in total 52 questions. From part number 1 and 4, we have grammar and vocabulary tasks. From part number 5 to 7, we have text and reading comprehension tasks. What kind of questions it has? Part number 1, multiple choice clause. Part number 2, open close. Part number 3, word formation. Part number 4, keyword transformation. Part number 5, 4 option multiple choice questions. Part number 6, gap text, and finally part number 7, multiple matching. Also, I'm gonna talk about use of English paper number 1, part 1. In this part, we have some strategies that we have to consider at the moment of taking the exam. So the first thing is that you have to read the title and the whole text quickly, and also you have to ignore the gaps. Then, when you finish reading quickly, you have to read again the text carefully before and after each gap and try to guess what kind of word or phrases fit the gap and the meaning best. Then, look at the 4 options, A, B, C, D, and decide which one goes with the words that come before and after the gaps. Next, if you are not sure, cross out the options which you know are incorrect and then decide on the most likely answer. Finally, when you have finished, you have to read through the whole text to make sure that it makes sense and that the options fit grammatically in the context. So in this case, in this way, you are going to find the correct answers.
I'm Carolina Altamirano and this is part 2 of the reading exam. In this part, you will find questions from 1 to 8. You have to read the text below and think of the word which best fits gap. Use only one word in each gap. To develop this part of the exam, you have some expert strategies. First, you have to read the title and text to have a general idea. Then you have to decide what type of word is missing in each gap. And you have to use only one word and don't use constructions. You have to always write something. You can send the exam with the spaces in blank. In addition, you have to check your answers and be careful with the spelling because if the answer is correct but the spelling is incorrect, the answer will be incorrect too.
Good afternoon, teacher. My name is Daniel Ortiz, and now I'm going to be talking about part 3, reading FCE exam. But first of all, we have to know what is this exam about and what is this part about. Well, I'm going to talk about what is this part about. In this part, you will find 8 gaps in which you will have to complete with 8 words, which are focused on vocabulary, and the word could be a noun, adjective, adverb, or verb. But first of all, to do this, we have to follow some advice. The first one is the expert strategy. The expert strategy is related to general understanding. What is general understanding? Well, it is a technique called skimming, and we use it to read a text quickly to get a general idea of what the text is about. And then we are going to read each sentence. What kind of word is needed in these gaps? As you can see in the right part, we have noun, verb, adjective, or adverb. And you will find in the left part one example of these readings. Then we have another tips like change the form of each word, read the text again to avoid mistakes, check if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, you will have to change something, the form of the verb, maybe to change it from present to past, and then check your spelling because it is so important as well because some words can be a little bit confusing.
So let's talk about part 4. This part has 6 questions, and what you have to do here is basically fill in the gap. Each question has a sentence with a keyword. With this keyword, you have to complete another sentence below, and it has to have a similar meaning to the first sentence. So let's talk about some key expert strategies. First of all, you have to read both sentences carefully. Then you have to identify what is missing from the second sentence. So you have to identify what kind of word the keyword is, for example, a noun or a verb. In this example, the keyword driven is a verb in past participle, so we also have to infer the structure of this sentence. For doing that, we can look at the words before and after the gap. For example, with a past participle verb, we can make a passive voice sentence. Don't forget that you have to write from 2 to 5 words, and this one has to be in capital letters. Finally, if you don't know, you can guess but not let the space in blank.
And this is part 5 of this reading exam. In this part, you have 6 multiple choice questions. There are 4 options from A to D, and you have to choose one of them. As expert strategies, we have: you have to read the questions, stems, and mark the keywords, but don't look at the options yet. Then you have to find and mark the information that you need to complete the answers. Then you have to read the options. The correct option will match the meaning of the text but use another words. And finally, you have to read the part of the text you have marked again and choose the correct option.
Okay, to continue, I'm going to talk about reading for detail and deducing meaning. In reading for detail, it's important that you understand details of a text. In order to do this, you can read it slowly and carefully, and if it is necessary, you can read the text more than once. In deducing meaning, you cannot use the dictionary because obviously you have to deduce the meaning. You can ask yourself, is it like a word in your own language? Can you borrow out the meaning from the context? I mean, if you can use the word in a specific situation. Can you work out the meaning from parts of the word itself? For example, affixation, if you can use the word in affixes or in suffixes.
So let's continue with part 6. Part 6 has 6 questions. Here you have a single page of text with some numbered gaps which represents missing sentences. After the text there are some sentences which are not in the right order, so you have to read the text and the sentences and decide which sentence best fits each gap.
Then we have part 6, tips. As my partner explained before, what is the part 6? Now I'm going to give you the tips to do this part. Well, first of all, you're going to read the whole text on base the text to get an idea of how it is structured. Then you will have to read the text before and after each grab, predicting the missing information. Then options and try to find one that fits the topic. Then if you're not sure, go on the next time and on the next gap. Don't be waiting in the first because you will lose time. Then read the text again with your answers and check if it makes sense. Thank you for watching.
This is the last part of this reading exam, part number 7. In this part, you will find a series of statements followed by a text divided into sections. You have to match each statement to the section and find the correct answer. You have 10 questions in this part. To develop this part of the exam, you have to read the questions and select the keywords. Then you have to scan each section to find the information. The information in the text will not be written in the same way as it is in the options, but it will have the same meaning. Then you have to underline, highlight possible answers, read the section and choose again, but more carefully. And you have to leave any questions you are not sure about, but remember, don't send blank spaces.